The crypto market has been going absolutely insane over the past couple of days. And even though I'm not a financial advisor, I'm not here to advise you on anything, and all I share is just my own personal journey, I want to quickly tell y'all, things have been going great. I mean, every single coin I've bought over the past few months is up tremendously. And I get questions all the time of, hey, is this where we really think things are about to pop off? Or is this where we expect a drop off? And I want to quickly show you a bit of my thoughts, a bit of my strategy. But remember, these are my thoughts. This is my strategy. This video is just for informative purposes, educational purposes to some extent, talking about what I think is wise. But I'm not a financial advisor. I will make no guarantees anywhere, except for, I guess, to myself. So again, no guarantees are made, not financial advice. I want to make that clear because YouTube is trying to take my channel down, saying these videos are, interestingly enough, they're dangerous. All right, so I just want to make a few more disclaimers here before I even get started. So if you've been watching the crypto streams over the past few days, there's a few interesting observations. One, XRP's breakout, really from almost any angle, has only barely just started. Looking at the fact that we saw ourselves a beautiful breakout, just above 225, that's continuing to move exactly as we expected. I'm just happy to see it. It's basically an impulse, a break of sorts with, again, a followed impulse. And if you're wondering why we so strongly believe this is the case, similarly with the entire altcoin market cap, by the way, why do we feel as if another massive impulse is yet to follow here? It again basically all bases itself in Bitcoin's main charts. And again, I'll quickly cover this because I've covered it many a times in my lives, but I just quickly want to say it again. This is just, I think, the most important extrapolation to make, all right? It's the most important chart anybody will look at, because this makes you realize why I, for example, am so confident in these videos. Why I, for example, am so confident in my positions. Why I am so confident in what I talk about, even though, again, nothing is guaranteed. I want to make that clear. So, as it stands, we have seen Bitcoin break out of its recent range, right? Well, you know what? What if we were to not look at the most recent range and the breakout and we take a look at what happened every single time previously when Bitcoin broke its local high. And the local high here is roughly $108,000, right? We just broke that. Now the question is, do we continue up further or will we come back down? So let's take a look at what happened every single previous time that Bitcoin broke it. So the last time Bitcoin had an impulse, which again, we had here right now as well, right? Impulse and broke the local high. Last time we had an impulse, made a high, then all of a sudden, the next time we broke that local high, you can see how the price fared. You can see the price all of a sudden went up some tremendous numbers. But how did it do before that? Well, the moment we had an impulse, right? Multiple green candles in a row, made ourselves a high. We again slowly but surely went sideways until we broke out, right? This is the moment where we broke the candle, got ourselves a confirming candle. And again, it was a massive surge afterwards. But before that, let's take a bit of a look. We made ourselves, after an impulse, made ourselves a high. The moment we broke it was right there. Afterwards, pretty crazy move upwards as well. And before that, right here, you can see after a small impulse, we made ourselves a high. The first time that it broke through with this candle right here, you can see the price pretty quickly went upwards. A little bit, not too much, but theoretically speaking, the next few weeks after were crazy bullish. It was basically not that much, I was going to say, possible to get wrecked. I mean, you can see from this, after this candle, the price only went down teeny tiny percents afterwards before the craziest of rallies started. And so the conclusion is, if we take a look at previous rallies, it would have thus far always been smart to get into the candle right after the breakout candle. Again, this could be the time where it's not. This could be the first time basically in the last few years where it turns out that this is a stupid idea. Again, things that happen all the time that have never happened before, right? But all I am saying right now is that if we take a look at how the price has gone throughout the previous cycle, and I'm going to say even this cycle, just the last few years, the last 2 years, 3 years, this has always been a good idea. Again, you can say this time around it's going to be different, but I like to put my money on the fact that it's not. Similarly, we base this on the fact that altcoins seem poised for another cool rally. And you might say these two are not exactly the same topic, right? Altcoins could go up, altcoins could go down. In theory, completely separate from Bitcoin's moves, which I believe to be true. But I also do very much believe that they will move in some sort of unison, and at some point, Bitcoin will actually keep gaining very, very hard, but once it's losing its dominance, which seems to be right now, relatively altcoins will be better than Bitcoin is. And I think, again, that moment is mostly right now. So right now, we're not in an altcoin season because most coins have performed worse than Bitcoin has over a 90-day period. But if we take a look at, for example, a 7-day period, that number is already starting to get pretty skewed, as Bitcoin, again, is definitely not one of the best performers in here. You can see it's actually 71st in the entire list of top 100. Funnily enough, though, a lot of altcoins still have not reached its previous glory, as Solana has performed even worse this week, Tron has performed worse, BNB has performed worse. Just a lot of tokens that you think should be at the top are definitely not. Some of the best coins thus far, though, have been Pengu, Stellar, Algorand, 𝗓𝗂, Onyx coin here, IOTA. A lot of coins here are up in the massive, massive double digits this week, with Pengu right now being the leader after 𝗵𝗲𝗄, which is down 30% in a day. And so many people wanted me to open up a Pengu trade of sorts. And I said earlier, no, I can't do it because it's up so much, so much, so much. But then thinking about it, even though it's up tremendously from the bottom, it's up astronomically from the bottom it made like a few months ago, then again, that doesn't necessarily mean it can't do really, really well in the future, or that we can't make a lot of gains if the price all of a sudden were to actually reverse. So I still think it's kind of wise potentially to open up some sort of Pengu trade here. The range has to be quite wide because, again, it could be a pretty massive move in a very, very short amount of time. Even 50% is not that crazy for something like Pengu. But we keep in the back of our head that we will open something now, keeping more money on the side in case we do have to buy dips. So I'll put the lower bound here at 0.01. Why? It's relatively low, right? But again, I'm just doing that for, we could actually do potentially 14. More along the lines of this is where you still want to buy at, right? Roughly half the price I'd still think is a good idea to buy. Below that, we get invalidated. We can change the strategy later, though, because we're going to be buying the dip anyway. With, again, the upside being potentially about double of the current price, so about 0.06. It's a pretty wide range. In this case here, we're going to go for 478 grids. With mostly the upside still being where we expect the price to go. We could put it slightly lower because, again, it's already done such an astronomical number. If we take the local high of 0.045, we could say that it goes 20% above that, which potentially could be slightly lower than 0.06. We could do 0.055, for example, and still be extremely satisfied. Changing this to 479. Actually, there we go. And in this case, auto reserve, we click it off. We still want to go for a 3x situation, though. Why? Because Pengu has been extremely volatile and you want to minimize your risk. We put 1500 at 3x in this case, and we press create. Give it a little second to load it in. There we go. It's going to buy about 63% right now. Keeping more money, though, to buy the dip in case necessary. We press OK. And even though this right now to some people may look stupid because we're buying in it really, really high. Well, first of all, we've put a range, right? So you can still buy as the price goes lower. But more importantly, right now, if Pengu is extremely volatile, we to some extent hope it's going to stay within the range we just specified. But for the most part, we hope that as long as the price doesn't crash too much within one day, and the same thing applies for any one of these really, that we can just keep gridding out. So for example, the Algorand, we opened this not even a day ago, and it was already able to cash out about 1% or so in the day. For just buying and selling, buying and selling, buying and selling, which is pretty nice. Now, you might look at the unrealized P&L and think, oh, this is awful. Well, at the end of the day, we just bought Algorand, though. And we bought it at a really high price, you may think, but I don't think it matters because eventually it'll be higher up. And we, again, have another buy coming in if the price drops another 15% or so. So Pengu here, some people say this is the stupidest spot to open. I just think it's nice to have multiple different coins in to also take some opportunity in that volatility. But again, the more memey, the more risky you feel it is, you stay away from, of course, the higher amounts of leverage. Then again, ladies and gentlemen, nothing I say here is financial advice. These are my trades, my thoughts, and I'm explaining why I'm going for them. The reason I'm opening a Pengu position is, first of all, because a lot of people wanted to see it and thought it was a good idea. But second of all, because Pengu has been the number one for a while. I usually expect coins that do really, really well to continue to do really, really well. But on another angle as well, just because it's gone up a lot doesn't mean it can't keep doing that. Maybe it just became the most hyped up, most exciting meme. And I don't want to miss another doubling or tripling or so rally just because it's already gone up a lot. Again, past doesn't necessarily depict the future. Anyway, you guys get what I mean. And really, for the most part, if Bitcoin just now bottomed out, it seems to me so logical to every single time Bitcoin goes down to see it as an opportunity. If I look at the comment section though, most people are saying, no, you see, you were wrong. We are going down to zero. You should sell tops. And I always say, you should sell whenever you're comfortable, wherever you feel like, oh, this is something I've achieved. For example, for my XRP trade, right now we're back to 295. The trade is plus $186,000. To some extent, I'm comfortable. To another extent, I'm thinking this is way too little. Right? So it all depends on you. Some person might be up $180, and I was looking at some of my older videos where, fun fact, BNB, for example, was just $9. Some of the coins still around? I'm not so sure. Dogecoin was 0.006, for example. Fun times, right? This is an older video of mine in 2018. I sometimes look at this and think, man, if I could only go back, right? Even though after this, the market crashed significantly, because this is still at a high point, right? Many coins are still very, very high here. Because take a look, Bitcoin here still is about 9,000, ETH is about 800, XRP about 94 cents. Trust me when I say that for the entire market of this time, these were all extremely high. But I think it's February or so of 2018 that I recorded this specific video at. Also, it's fun to sometimes see if you were trading with one Bitcoin at the time, it's only 10,000, and right now it's 120,000. But my point is just, if you had really consistently stayed up with all these prices and just kept on going for the dip, kept on going for the dip, kept on going, sure, you would have hated yourself for a little bit, but for any single one of these currencies, you would have loved it right now. And the funny thing is, the same thing applies to the 2021 cycle. And so when I considered these charts that I showed you at the start, right? For example, the fact that every single one of these local highs usually is followed by a pretty crazy gain. It speaks for itself, I'd say, that every single time, if you'd bought, you'd be up because we're at an all-time high for Bitcoin. But also, when I look at the comment section, the amount of people that say, and of course, like usual, it's dumping now. There's just a lot of negativity. And the funny thing is, in real peak bull market, when we're at the peak, most people won't be like that. So the fact right now, a lot of people are calling me stupid for calling high prices shows me that really we're not in a euphoric state of sorts. We're still in a very realistic state, even though I think we're still quite underpriced, which is my personal opinion, because BTC right now is BlackRock's #1 most profitable fund. I think a lot of people are not realizing just how much BlackRock, the president, and all of them are going to be pushing this, especially if Bitcoin really breaks through a little bit further. In the past, in the 2021 cycle, we've seen plus 25% in a day. That in this case would be what? A plus 25K candle in a day. It would not be that crazy. And you'd see, or you'd find it funny, just how much alts can go up in one day. Plus 40% all across the board has happened before. It could happen in a euphoric state. And really, for the most part for me, all I'm doing is just waiting until one of those days happens. And I know, to some extent, you might look at this every day and think, oh, but. But I have all these positions open not for the teeny tiny mini gains. This is good. And I could cash out now, for example, another % every single time I'm thinking of it, right? For example, now I could cash another few $1,000s. Why? Just because I can. Just because sometimes it's nice to cash in some profits whenever you feel like it, because, hey, profit is profit. It doesn't matter if you could have gotten more by selling slightly higher. It's all okay. If you keep getting caught up in the, but I could have, you're going to really mentally drain yourself too much. I don't think about none of that. All I think about is, hey, you know what? It's $185,000 in the profit right now. I feel like selling a few $1,000. I do it. If I look at some of these bots, by the way, Penguin's doing, but don't focus on the short term too much. But if I look, for example, one of those bots of mine, for example, hey, right, this is the 10K to $1 million challenge. If this eventually gets to $500,000, and I'm thinking, you know what, the challenge is done because I'm just really satisfied I made $500,000 and I want to go buy a watch or a car or something like that, I do it. Just because it's a challenge doesn't mean, still, profit is profit at the end of the day. You can change your mind at some point, it's all fine. If the excellent bot, maybe my goal was to make 100K with this. If I'm seeing 25,000 right now and I want to go do something with this, I want to reinvest, I want to do something else, I don't have to explain it to nobody. Do whatever you feel like at the time, as long as you really stand by your choice and you're not going to regret it. But I always say, my most important factor, especially in bull markets, is to minimize regret. And I think one of the easiest ways is to have automated solutions. For example, my grid profits, what they do is they automatically buy and sell. Again, no guarantees are made, but basically they take advantage of volatility. Anyway, I was just taking a look at how the profit is looking for our team. We're 10th in the whole world, which is not bad at all, by the way. But I'm just really super excited about a lot of these coins right now. And I really want to throw out all these different things I'm thinking is going to happen to all these alts. But at the base, I wanted to say, this is what I think is going to happen over the next few weeks. Again, not financial advice. But generally speaking, I think it is worth it to have this type of mindset for the market. If it's not, we'll see back then. But at the end of the day, we're all grown adults. We can all make our own choices. And yeah, I mean, we're prepared for any one of these scenarios. If the price comes down really, really hard, I've got a strategy for that. If the price just keeps moving upwards, we got a pretty solid strategy for that. So I think this is just golden times where we really hope it's going to pop off. But then on the opposite side, every single dip is a beautiful opportunity, and I consider it like that. But yeah, you know what? That's about it for this little crypto update. I will say one more thing. I've also decided to make a backup channel. Well, I posted a few videos on this like some months ago. But I basically have this channel. I might call it like DustyBC Backup soon. I don't know if I will change the name. I'll put a link down below. If you haven't done it yet, maybe you go ahead and subscribe to that channel. Because if something happens on this one, I'll have to keep posting videos on my new channel. And that's basically because, as I said at the start of the video, YouTube is trying to, for some reason, censor crypto videos again. I don't know exactly why they're doing it. All right, we're not doing anything wrong. I've read the rules. It's all good. But hey, for some reason they are. And so I want to keep a backup channel in case they do decide to make another strike. That means you can't upload for a week. I just have a second channel. I'll put a link down below for that as well so you guys can check that out. And see you guys again in another crypto video somewhere later today. And last but not least, if you could, please help out by just tagging YouTube creators or Team YouTube over on X, because they should rectify the mistake in my opinion, but they've not responded yet for some reason. Maybe because I'm not making enough noise for it. So take a look at that and see you guys again in another one.